All right, hi everyone. So here, these notes are going to be all about graphing rational functions. Okay, so to make your life simpler, I've identified three kind of big key steps that you guys should do every single time you see a problem. Okay, the first thing is to factor the fraction, so the top and the bottom. See if you can turn it into something that looks simpler. Okay. Next is we're going to identify the domain. This is where the function will actually be, um, it'll be defined. Okay. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying you can have these x values. Okay. So in terms of your picture, it's going to be which x values you can actually have. And then to simplify our original problem or our factored problem, we're going to cross out like parentheses. Okay. So you'll see what I mean by when I do the first example. Okay. Now, when we cross things out, it's going to create a hole. And I'll talk about what the heck that is. The last couple of days, we have talked about these things called horizontal and vertical asymptotes. Okay, so they're the lines, the dotted or squiggly lines that your graph never touches. Your x-intercepts, basically, you're going to set y equal to 0, and we're going to solve. Then we're going to plug x into 0 into x and get y's, and then we'll find some more points. So let's go through an example and just to kind of go through this. Okay, so in the past couple days, we have done problems that look like this, like 10 over x plus 5. And this is a very simple problem because you can easily look at this bottom and say, hey, what goes in that makes it 0 on the bottom, right? It gets more complicated when the problems you can't easily just look at it and see. So the first rule is let's turn it into something else by factoring. So this bottom, I'm going to just write it over here too, really says x squared plus 0x minus 4. If I do add and multiply for that as well, the top of my fraction becomes x plus 5 and x minus 2. Then over here, the bottom becomes x plus 2 and x minus 2. So the red is the same thing as the original typed. It's just easier to look at. Okay. So the domain, which x values can you not have? X, you have every single x except for 2 and negative 2 because I can't plug either one of those in because they'll get me 0 on the bottom. That's why um, your domain is 2, every real number except for 2 and negative 2. Now, I mentioned up in step number 3 above, we're going to cross out anything that looks alike. These look alike. Okay. Now, so my vertical asymptote is x equals negative 2 because negative 2 would make that piece equal to 0. Horizontal is still talking about the degree. So those three cases, the top is equal to the bottom. So we're going to divide the leading coefficients. So 1 divided by 1, y is equal to 1. Now x-intercepts, we're going to say set y is equal to 0. And now I'm going to solve for x. Okay. So I'll multiply each side by x plus 2 because I'm trying to get rid of the fraction. And 0 times anything is 0. So 0 equals x plus 5. I solve, I get negative 5. So my x-intercept is at negative 5, 0. Okay, let me just get rid of this stuff so it's out of the way. Okay, and now we're going to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is we're going to plug 0 in for each of these x's. So 0 plus 5, 0 plus 2, and so it's 5 over 2. So my y-intercept is 0 and 2.5, which is 5 over 2. Now, we have this thing called a hole, and I didn't really do a great job pointing it out before I crossed it out. This parentheses that I crossed out was x minus 2 and x minus 2. They were the like ones, so that's why they crossed out. The hole means in our picture here, there's this line. A hole just simply means it's empty there. At this one spot, it's empty and it's a hollow circle. So my hole is whatever number makes this one 0. And so I crossed out this. The number that makes out is 2. Okay, because 2 minus 2 is 0. All right, so we found some key info. The next video is going to be actually how you make the graphs. Okay, so it was all about finding these 4 to 5 bits of info, and now we're going to actually put them on the picture. Okay, so the next video will be that. Thanks, guys.